Far beyond the bright stars of the Galactic Empire, in a cold and silent region of space, something strange appeared. The Empire's deep space station floated quietly in orbit around a dead planet. It was a place where nothing ever happened. The officers there spent most of their time watching empty space and running routine scans. It was boring work, but important. They were the first line of warning if anything entered the Empire's territory. On that day, everything changed. Officer Lena sat at her console, staring at the scanning screen. Lines of data moved slowly across it. Nothing unusual, just the same empty readings as always. She sighed and leaned back. Another quiet shift, she said. Commander Aaron stood behind her, arms crossed. He was calm and serious, always focused on duty. Stay alert, he replied. Space is never truly empty. Lena nodded, though she didn't expect anything to happen. Then suddenly, her screen flickered. A strange signal appeared. At first, it was weak, just a small spike in the data. Lena frowned and leaned forward. Commander, I'm picking up something, she said. Aaron stepped closer. What kind of signal? I don't know, Lena answered. It's different. The signal pulsed again. This time stronger. It was not random noise. It had a pattern. Aaron's expression changed. Run a full scan. Lena quickly typed commands. The station systems began analyzing the signal. More data filled the screen. It's structured, she said slowly. Like a message. A message. Aaron repeated. From where? Lena pointed at the coordinates. From outside the Empire's border. That alone was strange. Very few civilizations existed out there, and none were powerful enough to send signals like this. Aaron's voice became serious. Boost the sensors. I want a visual. The station's long-range scanners activated. A holographic image began to form in the center of the room. At first, it was unclear. Just a blurry shape in the darkness. Then it sharpened. Lena's eyes widened. A ship, she whispered. It was a single warship, floating in space. But something about it felt wrong. It was smaller than the Empire's battleships. Much smaller. Yet the energy readings coming from it were unbelievably high. That's impossible, Lena said. Aaron stared at the image. Confirm the readings. I already did, Lena replied. Twice. The numbers didn't make sense. The ship's power output was greater than an entire fleet. Aaron stepped closer to the hologram, studying the design. It looked simple, almost too simple. Smooth metal, no visible weapons, no large engines. What species? He asked. Lena ran another scan. The system processed the data for a moment. Then it gave an answer. Her voice became quiet. It's human. Aaron frowned. Human. Lena nodded. Yes. The database confirms it. That made no sense at all. Humans were known to the Empire, but only as a minor species. Weak. Divided. Not a threat. Their technology was far behind. This has to be wrong, Aaron said. But deep inside, he knew it wasn't. The signal pulsed again. This time it was stronger than ever. The room felt tense. Every officer was now watching the hologram. What is it doing? One of them asked. Lena checked the movement data. Her heart skipped a beat. It's changing direction, she said. Aaron looked at her. Direction toward where? Lena swallowed. Toward us. Silence filled the room. The human warship was not just drifting. It was moving directly toward the Empire station. And it was getting faster. Open a communication channel, Aaron ordered. Lena quickly sent a standard warning signal. Unknown vessel, you are entering restricted space. Identify yourself immediately. They waited. No response. The ship kept moving. Send it again, Aaron said. Lena repeated the message, this time stronger. Still nothing. The human warship did not slow down. It did not change course. It simply continued forward, silent and steady. Aaron's expression hardened. This is not normal, he said. The energy readings began to rise. Lena's hands shook slightly as she watched the numbers climb. Commander, its power levels are increasing. How much? She hesitated before answering. Beyond anything we've ever recorded. The room grew colder. Every officer could feel it now. Something was wrong. Very wrong. Aaron looked at the approaching ship. His instincts told him this was no ordinary situation. Prepare defensive systems, he ordered. The station came to life. Shields activated. Weapons powered up. But even as they prepared, the human warship continued its silent approach. No weapons fired. No messages sent. Just movement. Slow, steady, and unstoppable. Lena stared at the screen, unable to look away. "Commander," she whispered, "what if it's not here to talk?" Aaron did not answer right away. He watched the ship, his eyes narrow and focused. Then he spoke, his voice calm but heavy. "Then we are about to face something we do not understand." Outside, in the endless darkness of space, the lone human warship moved closer. And, for the first time in a long time, the Galactic Empire felt fear. The human warship moved closer. Inside the Empire's deep space station, no one spoke for a few moments. The silence was heavy. Every officer stared at the screen, watching the small ship grow larger. Commander Aaron stood still, his eyes fixed on the hologram. "Distance?" he asked. Lena checked quickly. "Closing fast. It will reach outer defense range in minutes." Aaron nodded slowly. His mind was racing, but his face stayed calm. "Keep sending hails," he said. "Use all channels." Lena obeyed. She sent message after message. "Unknown human vessel, you are entering restricted Imperial space. Identify yourself immediately." Again, there was no reply. The ship continued forward, silent and steady. "It's ignoring us," Lena said. "Or choosing not to answer," Aaron replied. That was worse. Another officer turned toward them. "Commander, should we alert the fleet?" Aaron thought for a moment, then nodded. "Yes. Send a priority alert. Unknown vessel. Possible threat." The message was transmitted across the Empire's network. Still, the human ship did not react. Lena leaned closer to her screen, studying the readings again. "Commander, I'm getting strange data." "What kind of data?" Aaron asked. "The ship has no visible engines," she said. "No heat trails. No energy exhaust. But it's moving faster than anything we've seen." "That's not possible," another officer said. Lena shook her head. "I know, but that's what the sensors show." Aaron looked back at the hologram. The ship's design was simple, almost smooth. No heavy armor plates, no large weapon turrets like Empire ships. It looked clean. Too clean. "Run a full system analysis," Aaron ordered. Lena started the scan. The station's computers worked quickly, trying to understand the unknown vessel. The results came in, and they made no sense. "I can't map its power core," Lena said. "It's different." "Different how?" "It's like the energy is everywhere," she explained. "Not coming from one place." The officers exchanged uneasy looks. "Maybe it's broken," one of them said, trying to sound confident. "No," Lena replied quietly. "It's not broken." At that moment, the warning alarms suddenly beeped once. Everyone froze. "What was that?" Aaron asked. Lena checked the system logs. Her face turned pale. "Commander, it just scanned us." "Scanned," he repeated. "Yes," she said. "But not like normal scans. It was instant. It read all our systems in less than a second." That should not be possible. Even the Empire's best scanners took time. Aaron felt a chill run down his spine. "It knows what we are," he said. The human ship moved closer again. Now it was clearly visible on the main screen. A single vessel. Alone. Yet it did not slow down, even with the station's weapons ready. "Commander," Lena said softly, "why would a single human ship come here alone?" No one had an answer. In the Empire's records, humans were not strong enough to do this. They avoided conflict with larger powers. They stayed quiet. So, why was this one different? Aaron crossed his arms. "Maybe our information is outdated," he said. "Outdated," Lena repeated. "Yes," Aaron said. "We haven't paid much attention to humans. We assumed they were weak." He looked at the approaching ship again. Maybe that was a mistake. The room fell silent again. The human warship reached the outer defense line. Automated systems locked onto it. Weapons were ready to fire if it crossed the boundary. "Commander," Lena said, "it's entering restricted range." Aaron took a deep breath.
"Final warning," he said.
Lena sent the message. "Unknown human vessel. Stop immediately, or you'll be fired upon." They waited. Nothing. No reply. No change in speed. The ship crossed the line. The station's weapon systems activated fully. Targeting locks formed around the vessel. "Commander, weapons are ready," an officer reported. Aaron did not give the order to fire. Something felt wrong. Very wrong.
"Hold fire," he said.
"Sir?" the officer asked, surprised. "Hold," Aaron repeated firmly. Lena looked at him. "Commander, what if it attacks?" Aaron kept his eyes on the ship. "If it wanted to attack," he said slowly, "it would have already done it." The human warship suddenly slowed down. For the first time, it stopped moving. It floated there just outside the station, watching, waiting. The tension in the room became almost unbearable. Then Lena gasped. "Commander, I'm detecting something." "What is it?" Aaron asked quickly. Her hands trembled slightly as she read the data. "It's targeting systems." Aaron's heart skipped a beat. "Whose targeting systems?" he asked. Lena looked up at him, fear in her eyes. "Ours." At that exact moment, every screen in the station flickered. A single message appeared across all displays.
"Bright. Clear.
Impossible to ignore. Target lock detected." The room went completely silent. No one moved. No one spoke. Because they all understood one thing at the same time. The human warship was not just watching them anymore. It had them in its sights. The words on the screen did not disappear. "Target lock detected." They stayed there, bright and clear, like a warning no one could ignore. Inside the Empire's deep space station, the air felt heavy. No one spoke. No one moved. Every officer stared at the message, trying to understand what was happening. Commander Aaron was the first to react. "Confirm it," he said, his voice calm but firm. Lena's fingers moved quickly over her console. She checked every system, every sensor, every reading. Her heart was beating fast. "It's real," she said quietly. "We are being targeted." A wave of fear passed through the room. "That's impossible," one officer said. "We locked onto them first." Lena shook her head. "Yes, but this is different." Aaron stepped closer. "Explain." She swallowed before speaking. "It's not just a normal lock," she said. "It's like it has complete control over our systems." Aaron's eyes narrowed. "Control?" Before Lena could answer, another alarm sounded. "Commander," a systems officer shouted. "Weapon systems are glitching." Aaron turned sharply. "What do you mean glitching?" "They're not responding properly," the officer said. "Targeting is unstable. Power levels are dropping." "That's not possible," Aaron said. But it was happening. All around the station, systems began to flicker. Lights dimmed for a moment, then returned. Screens showed errors and strange data. Lena checked her console again. "Commander, it's not just weapons," she said. "Navigation, shields, everything is being affected." Aaron looked back at the human warship on the screen. It had not moved. It just floated there, silent and still, watching. "What is it doing to us?" Lena whispered. No one had an answer. Suddenly, a new voice came through the station's communication system. "Commander Aaron, this is Captain Rex of Patrol Squadron 3. We are approaching your location." Aaron quickly responded. "Captain Rex, proceed with caution. Unknown human vessel has locked onto us and is interfering with our systems." There was a short pause. Then Rex replied, sounding confident. "Understood, Commander. We will handle it." Moments later, the patrol ships arrived. 5 sleek Empire warships appeared on the main screen. They moved into formation around the human vessel, fast and precise. Relief spread through the station. "We have backup," one officer said. Lena watched carefully. "I hope it's enough," she murmured. Captain Rex's voice came again. "Unknown vessel. You are surrounded. Power down and prepare to be boarded." The human warship did not respond. It did not move. It did not show any sign of fear. Rex continued, slightly annoyed now. "This is your final warning." Still nothing. Aaron felt uneasy. Captain Rex, he said, be careful. This ship is not normal. Rex gave a short laugh. With respect, Commander, it's just one ship. Those words hung in the air. Just one ship. But deep inside, Aaron knew that was not true, not in the way that mattered. Squadron, lock weapons, Rex ordered. The patrol ships aimed their weapons at the human warship. For a brief moment, everything seemed under control. Then Lena gasped. Commander, it's happening again. Aaron turned to her. What now? Her hands shook slightly. They're being targeted too. On the main screen, alerts began to flash across every patrol ship. Inside each vessel, the same message appeared. Target lock detected. Rex's voice changed instantly.
What?
That's not possible. His confidence disappeared. Systems are failing. One of his pilots shouted over the channel. I can't lock weapons. My controls are not responding. Panic spread through the squadron. Aaron watched in shock. The human warship had targeted all of them at once. How can one ship do that? Lena whispered. The patrol ships tried to move, but their formations broke apart. Some drifted off course. Others struggled to stabilize. Rex's voice came again, now filled with urgency. All ships, pull back. Regroup. But it was too late. The human warship still had not moved. It did not need to. It was already in control. Commander, Lena said softly, it's like it's playing with them. Aaron did not reply. He could only watch. The squadron tried to retreat, but their navigation systems were failing. Some ships spun slightly, unable to correct their direction. Then suddenly, everything went quiet. The alarm stopped. The glitches paused. For one brief moment, all systems returned to normal. What's happening? One officer asked. No one knew. And then, a single beam of light fired from the human warship.
It was fast.
Too fast to track. It crossed the distance in an instant and struck one of the patrol ships. There was no explosion. No loud impact. The ship simply split in half.
Clean.
Silent.
Precise.
Both halves drifted apart slowly, lifeless. The room froze. No one could believe what they were seeing. Rex's voice came through, filled with shock. They destroyed it. The remaining patrol ships broke formation completely. Fear took over. All ships retreat. Rex shouted. Retreat now. This time, the systems responded. The ships turned and fled at full speed, escaping the area as fast as they could. But the human warship did not chase them. It stayed where it was.
Silent. Still.
Watching them leave. Inside the station, no one spoke for several seconds. The reality of what had just happened was too much. Finally, Lena whispered, her voice trembling. That wasn't a battle. Aaron slowly nodded. His eyes remained fixed on the human warship. No, he said quietly. That was a warning. The silence after the attack felt heavier than any alarm. Inside the Empire's deep space station, no one moved for a few seconds. The image of the destroyed patrol ship still floated on the main screen. Two broken halves drifting slowly in the darkness. Commander Aaron stood still, his face serious. They didn't even try to fight back, Lena whispered. Aaron nodded slightly. They couldn't. The truth was clear now. The patrol squadron had not been defeated in battle. They had been controlled, disabled, and then struck down with perfect precision. And the human warship was still there, waiting, watching. Commander, one officer said nervously, what do we do now? Aaron did not answer immediately. His mind was working fast, trying to understand something completely new. Before he could speak, the communication system came alive again. Commander Aaron, this is Captain Rex. His voice sounded weak, shaken. Aaron turned toward the console. Report, Captain. We lost one ship, Rex said. The others are damaged. Systems are unstable. We barely made it out. Aaron glanced at the screen showing the retreating ships. Understood. Fall back and regroup at a safe distance. There was a short pause. Then Rex spoke again, quieter this time. Commander, what is that thing? Aaron looked back at the human warship. I don't know, he said honestly. The channel went silent. Inside the station, tension continued to grow. Lena checked the sensors again.
Her voice was low.
It's still targeting us. Erin's eyes narrowed. Still. Yes, she said. The lock hasn't gone away. That meant the human warship still had full control over them.
And it wasn't attacking.
Why is it waiting?
Lena asked.
No one answered. That question stayed in the air, heavy and unsettling. Suddenly, another officer spoke up. Commander, incoming signal from Central Command. Erin turned quickly. Put it through. A holographic figure appeared in the center of the room. It was a high-ranking officer from the Empire's command network. Commander Erin, the figure said, we have received your alert. Explain the situation. Erin stood straight. Unknown human warship has entered restricted space, he reported. It has advanced technology far beyond expectations. It disabled our systems and destroyed one patrol ship. The officer's expression hardened. One ship, he said. From a single vessel? Yes, Erin replied. There was a moment of silence. That is not possible, the officer said. Erin did not argue. It already happened, he said calmly. The officer looked uncertain for the first time. Is the threat contained? He asked. Erin glanced at Lena. She shook her head slightly. No, Erin said. It is still here. And it still has us targeted. The officer's face grew serious. Do not engage further, he ordered. Reinforcements are being prepared. Hold your position. Erin nodded. Understood. The hologram disappeared. The room felt even quieter than before. Lena leaned closer to her console again. Commander, something is changing. Erin looked at her. What now? The targeting signal, she said. It's getting stronger. A soft warning sound filled the room again. Not loud, but steady, like a heartbeat. Erin felt it too, the pressure building. Report all systems, he ordered. Shields unstable. Weapons offline. Navigation not responding. The officers spoke one by one, each report worse than the last. It was happening again. But this time, it was stronger. Commander, Lena said, her voice shaking slightly, we can't move. Erin looked at the screen. The human warship had not fired. It had not moved. But somehow, it had complete control. It's locking us in place, he said. The realization hit everyone at once. They were trapped. The station, a massive structure built to defend the Empire, was now helpless. And the human warship had done it without effort. Why isn't it destroying us? One officer asked. No one knew. But Erin had a thought. It doesn't need to, he said quietly. Lena looked at him. What do you mean? Erin kept his eyes on the ship. It's showing us something. Showing us? She repeated. Yes, Erin said. It's power. The room fell silent again. The human warship was not acting like an enemy trying to win a battle. It was acting like something else. Something far more dangerous. Something that did not see the Empire as a real threat. Lena slowly nodded. It's like, she said, struggling to find the right words, like we don't matter to it. Erin did not respond, because he felt the same thing. For the first time, the Galactic Empire was not in control. They were not the strongest force in the system. They were not even equal. They were below. Suddenly, all screens flickered again. A new message appeared. Not a warning this time. Not just a system alert. It was clear, simple, and direct. Do not advance. The words stayed on the screen. No sound. No explanation. Just a command. Lena stared at it. Commander, is that a message? Erin nodded slowly. Yes, he said. For us. The meaning was obvious. The human warship was not just defending itself. It was giving an order. And for the first time in its long history, the Galactic Empire did not know if it should obey. The message did not disappear. Do not advance. It stayed on every screen inside the station, bright and impossible to ignore. No one spoke. The words felt heavy, like a warning that could not be misunderstood. Commander Erin stood still, thinking carefully. They are giving us a choice, he said quietly. Lena looked at him. A choice? Yes, Erin replied. Stay back, or face the consequences. The officers exchanged uneasy looks. The idea was difficult to accept. The Galactic Empire did not take orders from anyone, especially not from a single unknown ship. Before anyone could respond, another signal came in. "Commander, incoming transmission from Captain Rex." "Put it through," Aaron said. Rex's face appeared again, but this time he looked more shaken than before. His uniform was damaged, and the lights behind him flickered. "Commander," Rex said quickly, "our ships are still unstable. Systems are coming back slowly, but not fully." Aaron nodded. "Maintain distance. Do not engage." Rex hesitated. "Commander, with respect, we can't just run." Aaron's eyes narrowed. "This is not running. This is survival." Rex looked conflicted. Behind him, other officers were moving around, trying to repair systems. "We lost a ship," Rex said. "We can't ignore that." Aaron understood his anger. Losing a ship was not something the Empire took lightly. But this situation was different. "Captain," Aaron said firmly, "you saw what it did. One shot. One ship. No effort." Rex clenched his jaw. "Yes," he said, "but if we all attack together—" "No," Aaron interrupted. "You will not attack." The channel went quiet. Then Rex spoke again, slower this time. "So we just wait?" Aaron looked at the human warship on the screen. "Yes," he said. "We wait." The transmission ended. Inside the station, tension remained high. Lena checked the sensors again.
"It's still there," she said.
No movement. No change. Aaron nodded. "It's watching." Minutes passed. Nothing happened. The silence became almost unbearable. Then suddenly, "Commander," Lena shouted. Aaron turned. "What is it?" "New ships entering the sector," she said. The main screen zoomed out. Dozens of Empire warships appeared, jumping out of hyperspace. Large cruisers, heavy destroyers, and support vessels formed a powerful formation. Reinforcements had arrived. A sense of relief spread through the station. "We're not alone anymore," one officer said. Aaron watched carefully. "Yes," he said slowly, "but that may not matter." The fleet moved into position, surrounding the human warship from a distance. A new voice came through the communication channel. "This is Fleet Commander Doran. All units report status." Aaron stepped forward. "Commander Doran, this is Station Control. Unknown human vessel remains in position. It has demonstrated advanced capabilities." Doran's voice was strong and confident. "It is one ship," he said. "We are an entire fleet." Aaron hesitated. "Commander, with respect, this is not a normal enemy." Doran did not sound convinced. "We will see," he replied. "All ships prepare for engagement." Lena looked at Aaron, worry in her eyes. "They're going to attack," she whispered. Aaron said nothing. On the screen, the fleet began to power up weapons. Energy levels rose across every ship. The human warship remained still. Then, once again, every system in the sector reacted at the same time. Lena gasped. "Commander, it's happening again?" Aaron turned sharply. "Report. All ships are being targeted," she said. The message appeared across every screen, across every ship in the fleet. "Target lock detected." But this time it was different. The signal was stronger. Much stronger. Even the large warships began to report problems. Weapon systems unstable. Shields dropping. Navigation not responding. Panic spread quickly across the fleet. Doran's voice came through, no longer calm. "Maintain formation. Do not break." But the formation was already falling apart. Ships drifted slightly, unable to hold position. The human warship had locked them all. At once, Aaron felt a cold realization. "It's not even trying," he said quietly. Lena looked at him. "What do you mean?" "It could destroy them," Aaron said. "All of them." Before she could respond, a bright flash appeared. The human warship fired. Just one shot. A thin beam of light crossed the space between them in an instant. It struck a large cruiser in the fleet. The result was immediate. The cruiser did not explode. It simply stopped. All lights went out. Its systems died completely. A massive warship, reduced to nothing. Silence filled the communication channels. No one spoke. No one moved. Doran's voice finally returned, but it was different now. "Hold fire," he said slowly. For the first time, fear could be heard in his voice. The human warship did not attack again. It returned to silence. Waiting. Watching. Lena stared at the powerless cruiser on the screen. "That wasn't destruction," she said softly. Aaron nodded. "No," he replied. "It was control." The message was clear. The human warship was not fighting to win. It was showing them something far more terrifying, that it could end them at any moment.
And it was choosing not to.
The silence after the second strike was different. This time, it was not confusion. It was fear. Across the entire fleet, no one spoke for several seconds. The image of the disabled cruiser filled every screen. A massive warship, once powerful and proud, now floating lifeless in space. Commander Doran stood on the bridge of his flagship, staring at the scene. "Status," he said slowly. An officer answered, his voice unsteady. "The cruiser is completely offline, Commander. No weapons, no shields, no communication." Doran clenched his fists. "All from one shot." "Yes, Commander." That should not be possible. The Empire had faced many enemies before. Strong ones, dangerous ones, but never anything like this. Doran turned to his crew. "Restore systems," he ordered. "All ships, stabilize formation." But the fleet was struggling. Reports came in from every direction. Targeting systems still unstable. Energy flow disrupted. Navigation delayed. The human warship was not attacking, but its presence alone was enough to disrupt everything. Doran looked back at the screen. The ship was still there.
Small.
Silent. Unmoving. And yet, it controlled the entire battlefield. Meanwhile, inside the deep space station, Commander Aaron watched the same scene. Lena stood beside him, her face pale. "They're not ready for this," she said quietly. Aaron nodded. "No one is." A communication signal came through again. "Commander Aaron," Doran's voice said, "report everything you know." Aaron stepped forward. "The ship is human," he said, "but far more advanced than anything in our records. It can disable systems instantly. It can target multiple ships at once. And it chooses when to strike." There was a short pause. Then Doran replied, more serious now. "Why hasn't it destroyed us?" Aaron looked at the warship again. "I believe it is sending a message." "What kind of message?" Doran asked. Aaron took a moment before answering. "That we are not a threat to it." The words felt heavy. Doran did not reply immediately. On his bridge, the officers exchanged uneasy looks. The idea was difficult to accept. The Galactic Empire had ruled for generations. It had conquered countless systems. It was feared across the stars. And now, one ship was making them question everything. Doran finally spoke. "We will not retreat," he said firmly. Aaron expected that answer. "With respect, Commander," Aaron said, "we should reconsider." Doran's tone hardened. "Are you suggesting we surrender?" "No," Aaron replied calmly. "I am suggesting we understand what we are facing." The channel went silent again. Doran looked at the human warship. It had not moved. It had not fired again. It was simply waiting. "Send a communication," Doran ordered. An officer hesitated. "Commander, it has not responded before." "Send it anyway," Doran said. The message was transmitted. "Unknown human vessel. You are in violation of Imperial space. Identify your purpose." Everyone waited. Seconds passed. Then minutes. No reply. The silence returned. Doran's patience began to fade. "Prepare all weapons," he said. Aaron's voice came through quickly. "Commander, wait." Doran frowned. "Explain." Aaron spoke carefully. "Every time we escalate, it responds with control. Not aggression, control. If we fire, we may trigger something worse." Doran looked unconvinced. "You are asking us to do nothing," he said. "I am asking us to survive," Aaron replied. That answer stayed in the air. Doran turned back to the screen. The human warship was still there. Unchanged. Untouched. Untouchable. Then, suddenly, Lena's voice came through again from the station. "Commander Aaron, new data coming in." Erin turned quickly. What is it? It's not alone, she said. The room froze. What do you mean? Erin asked. I'm detecting faint signals far beyond our sensor range, Lena explained. They are weak, but they match the same pattern as this ship. Erin felt a chill. How many? He asked. Lena hesitated. I don't know, she said. But more than one. Those words changed everything. Erin slowly turned back to the communication channel. Commander Dorand, we may have made a mistake. Doran's voice came, sharp and focused. What mistake? Erin took a deep breath. We thought this was a single ship. He looked at the silent warship on the screen. But it may only be the first. Silence followed. Even Dorand had no immediate response. For the first time, the situation felt much bigger than a single encounter. Much bigger than a single battle. The human warship had not just shown power. It had shown restraint. And that was far more dangerous. Because it meant one thing. It was not afraid. Across the fleet, across the station, across every system connected to the Empire, a quiet realization began to spread. They were no longer dealing with a weak species. They were facing something new, something advanced, something patient. And somewhere, in the dark space beyond their vision, more of them might already be watching. The idea did not leave anyone's mind. It was not just one ship. That single thought spread quietly across the Empire's fleet, like a shadow no one could escape. Every officer, every pilot, every commander began to feel it. If this was only the first, then what else was out there? Commander Doran stood on the bridge of his flagship, his hands behind his back. His eyes were fixed on the human warship. It had not moved, not even a little. Report, he said. An officer stepped forward. All ships are in position, Commander. Weapons are charged. Systems are partially stable. Partially? Doran repeated. Yes, the officer said carefully. We're still experiencing interference. Doran's jaw tightened. Even now, without attacking, the human ship was affecting the entire fleet. Maintain formation, he ordered. No one fires without my command. Yes, Commander. Across the battlefield, dozens of Empire warships formed a wide circle around the lone human vessel. It was a powerful sight, an entire fleet surrounding one small ship. Under normal conditions, this would not even be a fight. But nothing about this situation was normal. Inside the deep space station, Commander Aaron watched closely. Lena stood beside him, her eyes moving across the data screens. They're trying to surround it, she said. Aaron nodded slowly. They think numbers will matter. Lena looked at the readings again. I don't think they will, she said quietly. Aaron did not reply. Deep down, he agreed. Back in the fleet, Doran took a step forward. Open a fleet-wide channel, he ordered. The communication system activated instantly. All units, Doran said, his voice strong and clear. Hold your positions. We will attempt communication one last time. A signal was sent to the human warship. Unknown vessel, Doran said. You are surrounded by Imperial forces. Power down and prepare to be boarded. The message echoed across space. Everyone waited. Once again. No reply. The human warship remained silent.
Still.
Watching. Doran's expression hardened. Very well, he said. Prepare to engage. At that exact moment, Lena's voice suddenly broke through the silence from the station. Commander Aaron, it's starting again. Aaron turned quickly. What is it? Her voice trembled slightly. The targeting system, it's activating. Aaron's eyes widened. No. Across the fleet, alarms began to sound. Not loud, but everywhere. Every ship, every system. At the same time, on every screen, the same message appeared. Multiple target locks confirmed. This time it was not just one lock. It was all of them. Every single ship in the fleet. Doran's calm expression broke for the first time. How? He whispered. An officer shouted. Commander, we are all being targeted. That's impossible, another said. But it was happening. Every system reacted at once. Weapons lost their lock. Shields flickered. Navigation systems slowed down. The fleet, once powerful and organized, began to lose control. Inside the station, Lena stared at the data in disbelief. It's targeting thousands of systems at the same time, she said. Aaron clenched his fists. That's not just advanced, he said quietly. That's overwhelming. Back on the flagship, Dorand tried to regain control. All ships, hold position, he ordered. But the fleet was already breaking. Some ships drifted slightly out of formation. Others struggled to keep their systems stable. Panic began to spread. Commander, we can't lock weapons. Shields are failing. I've lost control of navigation. The voices came one after another. Doran looked at the human warship again. It still had not moved.
Not even now.
It did not need to. It already controlled everything. Then suddenly, the alarm stopped. The interference faded. Systems returned to normal. For a brief moment, everything was quiet again. What just happened? One officer asked. Dorand did not answer. He was watching the human warship carefully. It had released them.
Just like that.
No attack. No destruction. Just control and then nothing. Inside the station, Lena slowly leaned back. It let them go, she said. Aaron nodded. Yes, he said. But why? No one had an answer. Back in the fleet, Doran took a deep breath. Reform formation, he ordered. Ships slowly moved back into position. Systems stabilized. Weapons came back online. For a moment, it felt like control had returned. But that feeling did not last long. Because everyone knew the truth now. It was not their control. It was the human warship's choice. Doran looked at his officers. We are not dealing with a normal enemy, he said. No one disagreed. Then he turned back to the screen. The human warship was still there. Still silent. Still waiting. As if it was giving them time to understand something. Lena's voice came softly through the channel. Commander Aaron, I think I understand. Aaron looked at her. What? She hesitated before speaking. It's not trying to destroy us, she said. Aaron frowned. Then what is it doing? Lena looked at the screen, her eyes filled with realization. It's teaching us. The words felt strange, but also true. Aaron slowly nodded. Yes, he said. Teaching us how powerless we really are. And for the first time in the history of the Galactic Empire, an entire fleet stood still, not because it was defeated, but because it was afraid to move. The fleet held its position. No one fired. No one moved forward. After what had just happened, even the bravest officers were unsure. The human warship floated in the center of the formation, quiet and still, like it owned the space around it. Commander Doran stood on the bridge, watching carefully. Status, he said. An officer replied, All systems are back online, Commander. Weapons ready. Shield stable. Doran nodded, but his expression did not change. Do you feel that? He asked. The officer looked confused. Feel what, sir? Doran kept his eyes on the screen. It's letting us recover, he said. That realization spread quickly across the bridge. The human warship had not been forced to stop. It had chosen to stop. Inside the deep space station, Commander Aaron and Lena watched the same scene. They're ready again, Lena said. Aaron nodded slowly. Yes. But that may not matter. Lena looked at him. You still think this isn't a fight? Aaron crossed his arms. No, he said. This is something else. The silence returned once again. But this time, it did not last long. Suddenly, the human warship moved. It was the first time since it arrived. It shifted slightly forward. Just a small movement. But it changed everything. Commander, Lena shouted. It's moving. Aaron stepped closer to the screen. Track it, he said. The sensors followed the ship easily. It was not moving fast. Not aggressive. Just controlled. Back in the fleet, alarms started again. Commander Doran, we have movement. I see it, Doran replied. Hold positions, he ordered. The fleet remained still, weapons ready. But no one fired. No one dared. The human warship stopped again. Then, every system across the fleet lit up. Lena's voice came through, tense. It's targeting again. On every ship, across every screen, the message appeared. Multiple target locks confirmed. But this time, something was different. The signal was stronger than before. Much stronger. Commander, an officer said nervously, "This lock is deeper. It's inside our systems." Doran's eyes widened slightly. "What do you mean?" "It's not just tracking us," the officer said. "It's connected to everything." That was worse. Much worse. Inside the station, Lena's hands moved quickly across her console. "It's inside our network," she said. Aaron looked at her sharply. "Can we stop it?" Lena shook her head slowly.
No, she said.
"We can't even see how it's doing this." The human warship was no longer just targeting them. It was inside their systems.
Controlling them.
Then suddenly, it began. Across the fleet, systems started shutting down. Not all at once, but one by one. Weapons went offline. Shields dropped. Engines slowed. "Commander," voices shouted across the channel. "We're losing power. Systems failing. I can't control my ship." Panic spread faster than before. Doran tried to stay calm. "All ships hold." But he stopped. Because his own systems were failing. The bridge lights flickered. Screens went dark. Control panels stopped responding. For the first time, Doran felt something he had never felt before. Helplessness. The entire fleet was being shut down. Not destroyed. Not attacked. Just turned off. Inside the station, Lena watched in shock. "It's disabling everything," she said. Aaron nodded slowly. "Completely," he added. The human warship was showing them something new. Not just power, but control at a level they could not understand. Within minutes, the entire fleet was silent. Dozens of warships floated in space, powerless, like empty shells. No movement, no resistance, nothing. Then, the human warship acted again. A soft beam of light spread out from it. Not a weapon. Something else. It moved across the fleet, touching each ship. Where the light passed, systems flickered, then returned. One by one, ships came back online. Weapons. Shields. Engines. Everything restored. The fleet came back to life. Just as easily as it had been shut down. Inside the station, Lena stared at the readings. "It fixed them," she said. Aaron nodded. "Yes," he said. "It showed it can destroy us and save us." Back on the flagship, Doran stood still. He looked at his restored systems. Then back at the human warship. It had not moved again. It simply floated there. Silent. Waiting. Doran finally spoke, his voice low. "This is not a battle." No one disagreed. He took a deep breath. "It is a demonstration." The truth settled in. The human warship had done everything without effort. It had controlled the fleet, shut it down, brought it back, all without taking a single loss, all without showing any sign of fear. Inside the station, Lena looked at Aaron. "What do we do now?" she asked. Aaron kept his eyes on the ship. For the first time, his answer was uncertain. "We learn," he said, because now it was clear. The human warship was not here to fight. It was here to make sure they understood their place. After the demonstration, the fleet remained in silence. No one dared to move. No one dared to fire. The human warship floated in the center of the formation, calm, unbroken, untouchable. Inside the deep space station, Commander Aaron leaned back in his chair, staring at the holographic screen. Lena's fingers moved quickly over her console, scanning, analyzing, comparing. Every reading from the human ship made no sense. The technology was far beyond anything the Empire had ever seen. "Commander," Lena said quietly, "I don't understand. How can one ship control so many others at once? Even the largest battleships, none of this should be possible." Aaron ran his hands over his face. "I know," he admitted, "but it is happening. And it's deliberate. It's showing us something." Lena looked at him, puzzled. "Showing us what?" Aaron shook his head slowly. "I think it's showing us who is really in control." Meanwhile, across the fleet, Commander Dorand tried to regain some confidence. He watched his restored ships move back into formation. The fleet had recovered, but morale had not. No one spoke with certainty anymore. The officers had seen the power of a single human warship, and fear had replaced confidence. Doran took a deep breath and contacted Aaron. Commander, do we have any insight into what we are dealing with? Aaron glanced at Lena before replying. We've been underestimating humans. Their records always describe them as divided, weak, slow to advance. But that may have been wrong. Very wrong. Doran frowned. Explain. Aaron tapped the console, bringing up old Empire intelligence reports on humans. We thought they relied on large numbers, weak technology, scattered fleets. But the human ship we are seeing, it is not just advanced. It is precise, efficient. Every system is perfectly designed. Its energy control, its targeting, it is unlike anything we've faced before. Lena added, it's like they focused on quality, not quantity. One ship can outperform an entire fleet. Doran's brow furrowed. One ship, he repeated. A single human vessel is stronger than our cruisers? Yes, Aaron said. It's been hiding its abilities for decades. Humans didn't need to show their power until now. They improved in secret while we ignored them. And now, this ship is telling us everything we need to know about them. Lena leaned forward. Commander, it's more than that. They don't just have advanced weapons. They have control over energy, systems, networks. They can disable or restore ships with a thought. And they can do it across thousands of kilometers instantly. Aaron's voice was quiet, steady, but heavy. They built a weapon we can barely understand. And they're choosing not to destroy us, at least for now. Doran's voice, over the comms, was low. Then why haven't they attacked us already? Because, Aaron said slowly, they don't need to. They can destroy us at any moment. And they know it. That's the message. They're showing restraint. They're showing control. And they want us to see it. The fleet and the station remained quiet. The human warship had not moved, yet its presence filled every officer with a deep, unsettling knowledge. The Empire had always believed power came from numbers and strength, but now they were witnessing a different kind of power. Lena tapped the console again. Commander, I'm seeing faint signals. They are weak, but similar to this ship's energy signature. Far out, beyond our sensors' normal range. Aaron's eyes narrowed. So it may not be alone. No, Lena said softly. This could be only the first. The thought spread through the room like fire. The human warship had shown what one vessel could do. If there were more, the Empire was not prepared. Aaron turned back to the main screen. The ship hovered calmly, as if aware of their thoughts. Its silence was louder than any weapons, its restraint heavier than any fleet. This changes everything, Doran said quietly from the fleet channel. We cannot fight them the way we always have. We cannot conquer them. And we cannot ignore them. Aaron nodded. Exactly. The Empire must rethink everything. Their borders, their fleets, their strategy, everything. Humanity is not what we thought it was. And we are lucky this ship decided to show mercy. Lena's voice trembled slightly. If this is only the first ship, how many more are out there? Aaron did not answer. He stared at the human warship, silent, waiting. A single thought echoed in his mind. The galaxy had changed. Humanity had changed. And the Empire was no longer the most powerful force in the stars. The human ship remained still, calm, watching. Its presence alone had rewritten the rules. And somewhere in the darkness, beyond the sensors, more ships might be waiting, ready to show the Empire what true power looked like. The fleet, the station, and the Empire had seen enough. Fear, respect, and awe mixed together as they realized the hidden truth. They had underestimated humanity for centuries. And now, humanity was ready to remind them who really ruled the stars. The silence across the fleet was tense. Every officer on every ship waited, hearts pounding. No one moved. No one spoke. The human warship hovered in the center of the formation, small, still, and impossibly powerful. Commander Doran's fingers hovered over his console. Report, he ordered, though he already knew the answer. Fleet is stable, Commander, an officer said quietly. All systems are back online. No damage reported, except for the cruiser lost earlier. Doran's jaw tightened. And the human vessel? It has not moved, the officer replied. It is just waiting. Across the deep space station, Commander Aaron watched the same scene with Lena by his side. Both stared at the holographic display of the human ship. It's too calm, Lena whispered. Like it knows everything we are thinking. Aaron nodded slowly. It does. It's teaching us, showing us power. But now it's time for a message. The moment stretched. Minutes passed. The fleet and the station held their collective breath. Then, suddenly, the human warship emitted a pulse, a faint signal at first, almost imperceptible, but growing stronger. Commander Doran, one officer said nervously, "The ship, it's sending something." Doran leaned forward. "Intercept it." Decoded immediately. Across the fleet and station, consoles lit up as sensors attempted to interpret the signal. It was strange, structured, precise, almost musical. The patterns moved like a code, but unlike any the Empire had ever seen. Lena's eyes widened. "Commander Aaron, this isn't just a signal. It's a message." Aaron nodded.
Yes.
"And it's meant for all of us." The translation programs worked quickly, trying to make sense of the unknown code. Then the message appeared, crystal clear, on every screen. "Empire of the Stars, you are seen." The words were simple,
Direct.
and yet they carried a weight that shook every officer in the room. Doran's voice was quiet over the fleet comms. "It knows we exist, and it's acknowledging us." Another line appeared. "Your fleets are strong. Your weapons are many. Your pride is great." Aaron leaned closer to Lena. "It knows about our empire. Everything we thought was hidden, it sees it all." The next part appeared. "You are not weak, but your understanding is small. Your reach is limited. Your control is fragile." Gasps filled the room across the fleet. Even the bravest officers felt a chill. Doran finally spoke, his voice low and sharp. "They are judging us." The message continued. "We are few, but we're patient. We are efficient, and we choose when to act. You have the power to destroy, but we have the power to decide." The calm tone of the message made it worse. It was not a threat. It was a statement of fact. A simple truth. The human warship could destroy them all, but it didn't need to. Inside the station, Lena's hands shook slightly. "Commander, it's saying we are not a threat if we behave." Aaron nodded slowly, his eyes still on the ship.
Yes.
"And if we don't?" The next lines appeared. "Consider this your first lesson. Choose wisely. Further action will show our judgment." Silence followed. The weight of the message pressed down on every officer. Not a single weapon fired. Not a single order was given. Even Commander Doran's voice was quiet. Aaron finally spoke in a low tone. "It isn't here to fight. It's here to teach and test." Lena nodded, still trembling. "It destroyed a ship. It disabled a fleet. And now it's showing mercy." Across the fleet, officers murmured. Fear mixed with awe, confusion with respect. The human warship had revealed its power and restraint at the same time, leaving the Empire shaken to its core. Doran's voice came, steadying the fleet. "Hold positions. Observe. Learn. We are being taught, whether we like it or not." Back in the station, Aaron's gaze never left the ship. "This is only the beginning," he said quietly. Lena looked at him. The beginning of what? Aaron's eyes were hard, determined, but thoughtful. The beginning of a new reality. The beginning of the moment humanity tells the Empire, "We are not what you thought we were." Outside, the human warship remained still, calm, its hull gleaming faintly under distant starlight. Its presence alone was enough to rewrite history in the minds of every Imperial officer. The fleet, the station, and the Empire had received their first true message. And the meaning was clear. Humanity had arrived. The message from the human warship spread through the fleet and the deep space station like a shockwave. Every officer felt it, the weight, the power, and the warning behind the words. Commander Doran paced across the bridge of his flagship. His eyes never left the screen showing the small, calm, human ship. It had not moved. It had not attacked. Yet, its presence alone had broken the confidence of an entire fleet. "Status reports," he barked. Fleet is fully operational, Commander, an officer replied, though his voice wavered. All systems are online, but morale is low. Everyone is shaken. Doran's jaw tightened. Morale? Do you think fear will stop the enemy? No, sir, the officer admitted. But it has frozen the fleet. Doran turned sharply. Frozen or not, we cannot let one ship dictate our actions. In the deep space station, Commander Aaron watched the same scene. Lena stood beside him, still analyzing the data. They're panicking, she said softly. Even Doran's fleet is unsettled. They don't know what to do. Aaron nodded. They've never faced something like this before. And they still don't understand humans. Lena frowned. Do you think the message will stop them from attacking? Aaron shook his head slowly. Not for long. The Empire will always strike first if they feel threatened. Minutes passed. Then the comm system in Doran's fleet blared. Commander Doran, this is Admiral Kalair of Central Command. Doran opened the channel. The holographic figure of Kalair appeared, stern and exacting. Report immediately, Kalair said. We have received your transmission regarding the unknown human warship. Explain why you have not engaged it. Doran's expression was calm but firm. Admiral, we have attempted communication. The ship is not responding in the usual way. It has demonstrated overwhelming capability. Engaging it directly would be catastrophic. Kalair's holographic eyes narrowed. Catastrophic? Explain. Doran hesitated briefly, then said carefully, Admiral, it has destroyed one of our cruisers with a single strike. It disabled our fleet systems almost instantaneously, and yet it has not destroyed us further. It shows restraint, but its power is total. One ship could wipe out all of us if it chooses. Silence followed. Kalair's jaw tightened. Do you mean to say that one ship is stronger than our fleet? He asked quietly. Yes, sir, Doran said. One ship is enough. Its control over energy, targeting, and systems exceeds anything we know. On the station, Aaron watched Lena's fingers move rapidly across the console. Commander, I'm detecting more signals, Lena said. They're faint, but they resemble the human ship's signature. Possibly others waiting beyond sensor range. Aaron's face grew serious. So this isn't just one ship. This could be a fleet, hidden, observing, testing us. Back on Doran's bridge, Kalair's face paled slightly. Central Command is dispatching additional fleets immediately. We cannot risk underestimating humans. Doran replied, Understood, Admiral. But reinforcements will take time. And the human vessel has already demonstrated it can disable large fleets easily. Kalair's voice hardened. Then we prepare. We strike as one coordinated force. Do not allow them to think we are weak. Yes, sir, Doran said, though his expression showed doubt. He knew what Aaron already realized. Direct confrontation might not succeed. Meanwhile, the human warship remained still, calm, and silent. It had delivered its first message, and now the Empire was scrambling to respond. Aaron turned to Lena. They're planning something. The Empire never hesitates when it fears its image is threatened. Lena nodded slowly. Do you think they will attack? Aaron's eyes stayed on the screen. They will. They cannot help it. And when they do, we'll see what humanity is truly capable of. In the fleet, officers worked frantically. Ships readied weapons, recalculated formations, and tried to predict the human ship's next move. But no calculations could prepare them. No simulations could match what they had witnessed. Even the Empire's top strategists were unsure. One ship had changed everything. One human warship had shown them their vulnerability. And outside, in the darkness of space, the small vessel waited. Its calm presence was a silent warning, a demonstration of control, and a test of the Empire's response. The Empire scrambled, but it was already late. For the first time, humanity was showing that the galaxy was no longer theirs to command. And when the Empire made its move, it would be stepping into a force it could neither predict nor fully control. The fleet held its formation, but the tension was unbearable. Commander Doran's officers worked frantically at their consoles, recalculating positions, checking weapons, and preparing for the strike they knew might fail. Every move they made was being watched, not just by the human warship in front of them, but by the possibility of others waiting in the dark beyond sensors. Doran stood rigid on the bridge, staring at the small, still vessel. Its hull glimmered faintly under the distant starlight, perfectly calm, almost indifferent. One ship alone had shattered the confidence of an entire Imperial fleet. "Commander," one officer whispered, "we are ready, but I don't know if we should fire." Doran's jaw tightened. "We cannot retreat. That would be worse. But we cannot underestimate them either." Inside the deep space station, Commander Aaron and Lena watched the fleet through long-range sensors. Every officer in the station understood the same truth. The Empire was no longer the dominant power in the galaxy. One human warship had proven that. "They know we are planning," Lena said quietly, pointing to the sensor readings. "They can sense our calculations. It's like they are predicting our moves." Aaron nodded slowly. "They are not just strong, they are intelligent, strategic, and patient. That patience is worse than any weapon." The message from the human warship still floated in their minds. "Choose wisely. Further action will show our judgment." It was a warning and a lesson at the same time. Back in the fleet, Doran made a decision. "All units hold fire," he ordered firmly. "Observe. We will not make the first mistake." The warship did not move. It remained calm, silent, and precise. Its presence alone kept the fleet frozen. Then, slowly, it began to act. A faint pulse of energy spread outward from the ship. Not a weapon, but a demonstration. Systems on the fleet's larger cruisers flickered. Shields dipped slightly. Engines lagged for moments. Each pulse was precise, careful, measured, and calculated to show control without destruction. Lena's voice came from the station, tense, but amazed. "Commander, it's showing them exactly what it can do again. It's a warning, not an attack, yet." Aaron nodded. "It's teaching restraint and fear." Minutes passed. Then the warship moved again. This time, faster. Its beam of energy swept across the fleet and station simultaneously, not to destroy, but to stabilize. Ships that had faltered were restored. Systems recharged. Weapons brought back online. Every vessel returned to full function, yet every officer knew they were powerless. "This is insane," Doran muttered. "One ship controlling all of us and choosing when to destroy." Aaron's expression hardened.
"It's a test.
Humanity doesn't need to destroy us. They only need to show us the truth." Then came the final communication. The message appeared across every screen in the fleet and the station. "You have seen our power. You have felt our control. Respect it. Live and learn. Humanity does not fight without reason. You may live if you choose to understand." Silence fell. Every officer froze. The Empire had always believed in its strength, its numbers, its fleets. But now the Empire realized it was facing a species far beyond its expectations. One ship alone had rewritten the rules of war. Doran's voice came finally, quiet and full of awe. We have underestimated them." Inside the station, Lena whispered, "This is only the beginning. If this is one ship, there are more out there." Aaron's eyes never left the calm human warship.
"Yes.
"And when they arrive, the Empire will have to learn fast. Humanity doesn't just survive. It adapts. It improves. And it wins when it needs to." The fleet slowly turned away, regrouping, shaken but alive. The human warship did not pursue. It did not need to. Its presence alone had changed everything. Across the galaxy, news would spread. One human warship had faced the might of the Empire, controlled a fleet, destroyed a cruiser, and returned all others to safety. It had shown restraint, intelligence, and power far beyond Imperial understanding. The Galactic Empire had survived, but it had been humiliated, outmatched, and forever changed. Aaron finally turned to Lena. "Do you understand now?" Lena nodded slowly, awe in her eyes. "We're stronger than they thought. We've only just begun to show it." Outside, the human warship drifted silently through the dark, unchallenged and victorious. Its mission was complete. The Empire had learned its lesson, the galaxy had seen its strength, and humanity had made its first true statement. The stars were no longer theirs to command. Humanity had arrived, and it would not wait for anyone to catch up.